Do it.
You're not going to put that in there, are you?
Absolutely I am.
No! What happened?
All right. Well, welcome everyone to the Real Romance Podcast. And it has been like 6 weeks or something.
A while.
Since Captain Marvel, since we've made a podcast. A lot has happened with us in the last month or two that has kind of prevented us from doing it. First of all, computer took a dump, not working correctly, so all of my editing software is pretty much gone. So I'm hoping to secure a way to edit podcasts so that this can be out in a timely fashion. But that's a big reason why we haven't. But we have seen like 6 or 7 movies since we last made one.
I think just the 5.
Just the 5? Maybe 6.
Yeah.
Maybe. But we haven't been able to podcast about them because of everything going on in our lives. Both of us have been going through some career changes.
I accepted a higher up new position at my company.
Right. Becoming an official member of management, which is nice. Mm-hmm. And I have, I believe I quit my job just before Captain Marvel. But since then, I have accepted a new job. And I start on May the 6th, I believe, from that new job. So a lot of big things are happening with me, and I'm just hoping that moving forward we can do this on a little more of a regular basis once we get our
I changed
footing.
my hair.
Yes.
Yesterday.
Brittany is now a raspberry head.
Not all the way.
Yeah, she got an ombre, and not a little Spanish boy.
Not ombre, it's an ombre.
Ombre, hombre, same difference.
But then they put, rather than leave it blonde on the bottom, we went back in and put raspberry color over it.
And it looks good. She's going to be Gamora.
That's what we're going to do for Halloween.
Or the premiere, we don't know.
I'd have to order that.
Maybe.
Now.
Yeah, I doubt it's going to happen, but it looks really good. So, in this podcast, oh yes, it's very pretty. It's actually it looks really good this morning.
See, look, it's the dark, is not actually brown, it's just dark
It's
purple.
just kind of dark purple. Yeah. It looks good. We'll have to post pictures on the Real Romance Instagram.
I'll try to finish.
Yes, after it gets all done up. But in this podcast, it's going to be a little bit more informal because it's been several weeks, over a month, since we've seen some of these. And
We'll do our best.
we will do our best to recount the things that we enjoyed and disliked and the overall impact of the movies we did see. And we did miss a lot of films. We did not go see any kid film.
We've been very stressed.
We've been doing a lot of sitting at home. Because once we're back, both of us have a commute now. Brittany's always had a commute, but now I'm driving like an hour each way to get to work. And it's one of those things where I get home and I just don't want to mess with it.
But however, our schedules are getting more and more aligned with each other.
Yes, and so we're out of the house at the same time. We're at home at the same time. So I'm hoping.
Hate it.
Oh, they do. They're so miserable.
They miss mommy.
But I'm hoping that we can go to at least 2 movies a week because the summer has so much cool stuff coming out. But we didn't go see Wonder Park. We didn't go see. Greta. We didn't go see. There's so many.
We didn't go see Little yet. We could still do that.
Right, but I doubt it's going to happen just because of everything that's going on.
We didn't go see Hellboy, and Robert is strongly revolting.
Here's the thing about Hellboy. All right, I liked Guillermo del Toro's version. I liked Ron Perlman as Hellboy. I liked Abe Sapien by Doug Jones. I liked the characters that were put forth back in the 2000s. I was hopeful for the reboot, even though I saw it was unnecessary. But after seeing bad review after bad review, everyone's saying that it just kind of spits in the face of the whole comic book movie thing, I was like, I'm not gonna waste my time going to a movie that I know I'm gonna shit all over on a review.
Because for us, it's more about time than money.
Right, I want to enjoy my time. It's not gonna be a waste for me.
We do have A-list, so like seeing another movie a week doesn't cost us any more money.
It's just that 2-hour time drain Sometimes 3 hours.
Yeah. Sometimes 4. It's about to be.
Yeah, with Endgame, we're gonna be there at the theater for like 5 hours because we're gonna now for Endgame tickets.
God, that was a hot
That was
mess.
such a fucking nightmare. Getting Endgame tickets. I know all of you struggled with it in some form or fashion, but
We were on literally within
all day.
within 10 minutes of them opening. We were on, and every website was crashed. I waited through Fandango for an hour only for there to be nothing left, and so
right. And I was on the AMC site refreshing, and I wasted so much 4G that day trying to get stupid tickets. But what we ended up doing is we're going to go to the local theater where there is no assigned seating Thursday night, so we're going to have to show up like at 3 p.m.
No, we have work.
Well, okay, as soon as I get off work, I'm going to have to be at the theater in order to get a good spot in line.
I doubt that Kokomo's gonna. We're gonna need to be more than half an hour, 40 minutes early.
Hour. It's a big movie. It's the only theater in the area.
Yeah, but they're also showing They're literally showing one at 6:15, 6:30, 7. Like they're showing one like every 20 minutes or so.
I would rather be cautious. But luckily we have assigned seating Friday night for our second viewing in Indianapolis.
They're pretty decent.
Right. So what we can do is get there, go to those movies.
Right, we don't have to get there till.
And we don't have to be there till right before. And since we've already seen the movie, if we have to cancel, we can. But anyway, back to Hellboy. All of these reviews were just horrible, and I just didn't want to waste my time. And I don't pride myself on it, but a lot of the critically crapped upon superhero movies, I have not seen them, and I have no intention on seeing them. Catwoman, the Fantastic Four reboot from 2015. I didn't see Elektra. I have not seen quite a few of the
made me
ones.
watch Hulk though.
Well, Incredible Hulk was not. It was
Bad.
It was not bad compared to these, hun.
Okay.
Like some of these have like negative scores on.
I don't think you can give
Right.
negatives.
It's like, how'd you get a -4 on Rotten Tomatoes? Because literally everyone had it, and even people who didn't review it said it was bad. That's how bad it was. But yeah, I haven't seen Steel. I have not seen Howard the Duck. I have not seen
What's Steel?
Did I already mention Catwoman?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just kind of one that pops in my head. Steel was, Shaq was Superman.
That sounds terrible.
Yeah.
Shaq just can't play everything just because he's Shaq.
No, because Steel is technically a DC character based on Superman. And it was from the 90s, and it just did not work. A lot of people, it's just awful. But some of them are so bad, people, like, forget that they were even made. Like, there was a Captain America that was made a long time ago. There was a
We don't talk
Fantastic
about
Four.
that.
Right, you don't talk about it because it's just not good. Jonah Hex, I haven't seen Jonah Hex. So yeah, I think I'm just going to leave Hellboy 2019 on the list of movies that I'm just never going to see. And I'm okay with that. But I will say that the guy who plays him is great on Stranger Things. Okay, so on this podcast, we're going to talk about the Jordan Peele movie Us, the latest superhero movie, Shazam.
Baha.
It's funny because it's true.
It was so horrible.
It's a bad joke, and I always crap on people for making that, but we'll talk about that later. Actually, it's been a lot of horror movies we've seen. We saw Pet Sematary, and then this last night we saw The Curse of La Llorona.
Was that it?
And Fighting with My Family.
That was forever ago.
Was there anything else?
I don't know. You pull up your AMC.
I'm pretty sure that was it. But yeah, like, there were so many movies that we were like, oh, we're gonna go see this, it's gonna be fun.
And then we were like, home is better.
Home is better. I agree.
Let me see it.
It's just a network error, hun.
Oh,
Yeah, it's just...
I fixed it.
No, you didn't fix it. It was the internet. Jeez, dear.
What?
Just scroll down. It'll be there. The Curse of La Llorona, Pet Sematary, Shazam, Us. We saw How to Train Your Dragon again. But yeah, and then Fighting with My Family. And that's all we've seen. Can you believe it?
Yeah, we told you that this last month we haven't seen a whole lot.
Right. Like, now we have seen a lot of movies the last 2 weeks. We're going to talk about this in the next podcast, which I want to drop as soon as possible after Endgame, rather. But we're doing the Marvel movie marathon. We're binge watching all the MCU films this last 2 weeks. And currently we're on Doctor Strange, and we're hoping to watch Spider-Man as well this afternoon if we can. But we have it scheduled so that hopefully we have it all ready to go to watch Infinity War on Wednesday, and then we can go watch Endgame on Thursday. But until then, I'm going to leave all of that discussion for the next time. Right now, we're essentially going to be talking about horror and Shazam. Just to get it out of the way, I dragged Brittany to Fighting with My Family before we kind of decided that we're just going to go to movies we want to go to. Movies that we feel like going to, movies without an agenda.
It wasn't like a bad movie, it was just like
it's just something you didn't want to see. Like me, I really enjoyed it because it's something that we don't... It was kind of a sports movie. Kind of an underdog type thing. But they played up The Rock too much when he was barely in it. And it was all about WWE and the divas. And personally,
The Rock produced it or something.
Personally, I enjoyed the film. I enjoyed the content of it. But it wasn't something that we would have gone to had the podcast not been a factor, I think. Would you agree?
Probably, yeah.
No, because see, I would have been like, come on, let's go to this movie. And you would have put your foot down and said, no, we're going to do something else. We're going to go to the park. We're going to play with the dogs, whatever the case may be.
Watch a movie on all the streaming stuff.
Yeah, all the shit we buy. So yeah, Fighting with My Family, I'd give it like a 2.5 out of 5. It was fair, popcorn, fair.
Well, you know what else we could talk about? That movie we watched on Netflix. Do you remember what that was called? It was a horror too. I can find out. It was like the Autopsy of Jane Doe.
Yeah, and also we watched a movie with Dan Radcliffe called The Swiss Army Man.
We have to talk about that movie. That movie was fantastic.
So technically that wasn't a go to the movie theater and watch it because it's been out for a while.
A few years.
It's an older movie.
It's not old.
But
it's
good
like
lord, that movie. Okay, see, and that's the thing about this particular podcast is all structure went out the frickin' window.
We do what we want.
We do what we want. All right, but I'm glad that you joined us and we can just kind of talk about the movies that we've seen. But yeah, Fight with My Family, okay, some funny jokes. The essential premise is that a pair of siblings are wrestlers in London, and
it wasn't London. It was just
it was
a tiny town.
Right,
over
but
there.
it was in the UK, and they do some scouting, and the guy, the brother who was all gung ho for it, he didn't get chosen. But his sister, who was still very good and very active, she was chosen. And it kind of creates a rift in the family.
It's based on a true story.
Yeah, it's a true story.
I did a little bit of research into it, and the brother actually tried out a second time. They told him to come back and try out again, but he still didn't make it, so they just simplified the story, because what was the point of having him try out again to fail, like... in the movie, it doesn't really add anything cinema-wise. Right,
because it was all about her, really. But it was all about her, like, trying to get over the fact that she's kind of a grunge, really abrasive wrestling type. And
she looks like she's never seen the sun.
All the other girls who were divas, they were all ex-cheerleaders, ex-dancers, ex-models, who were blonde, beautiful bombshells, busty, great, in the public spotlight. And here she is, just good at her craft. And so it's kind of about finding the balance between being a performer and then being an actual athlete. And so she has to kind of come to terms with that. And in addition to all the family stuff. And in the end, you can Google it. It's been months. You don't care. She ends up becoming a diva, and it's a huge deal for her. But as someone who doesn't follow the WWE, I really didn't
Get anything from
care.
it? No.
I didn't care about the overall stuff, but it was a good story. And there was a little subplot about a blind wrestler, which actually happened. What would you give it out of 5?
Personally, I don't know, like 2.
2?
I mean, it wasn't a bad film.
It wasn't a stinker.
No, just as far as, like, my personal taste.
Mm-hmm.
Like, overall, I'd give it probably, as a general film, maybe like a 3.5. But for me, it was a 2.
That's fair. All right, so let's talk about Us, right? I wanted to do a whole podcast on Us because it is such a rich film.
And we kept saying we were going to.
We're going to, but because of the time constraints, because of the computer problems, and because of all of the life changes happening with Us, we just never got around to it. Also, before we get started on Us, our dog got in a fight.
Oh, yeah, that was a big thing, too.
Yeah, that was something that took up a lot of our time, is that 2 of our dogs, they got in a spat, and one of their paw pads got completely ripped off her foot.
Our 2 sisters.
Yeah, the 2 sisters, they were fighting. And so we had to take her to the vet. She got stitches. It was like $200. It was all wrapped up and healing. And we were told...
think that would be the end of it,
We were
right?
told, stay with her at all times, make sure she's good. Okay, we did that. We left her at home for like an hour and a half by herself in the kennel around no one else, and she proceeded to chew off
The wraps.
And part of her foot.
Yeah, she ate the stitches out and ate part of her foot.
Right. So
She had to go back to the doctor.
get her more stitches, get her rewrapped. We got her a cone of shame, because shame on her for doing that. And we
Had to put a sock over it as well.
right.
So
It ended up being another like 10 or 12 days before we could trust her alone.
anytime she did not have the cone on, she had to have a sock.
Right, because she couldn't get to the wrappings if the sock was there.
It was a whole hassle. I had to take her with me to work. Now, I work at a pet store, and so I had to take her and have her sit in the grooming kennels while I was bathing dogs, which was a real hassle.
Right. But it was something like 3 weeks of our life that it was just wasted trying to get this dog's foot back in order. And now she's healing and everything's good.
Well, and after we took the stitches out...
She stopped messing with it as much.
No, remember? She chewed off...
Oh, yeah, she chewed off the bottom of her foot again.
She chewed off the top layer again, which it was whatever. It didn't have to go back to the doctor, but it did have to be remedicated and rewrapped.
Right, because that dogs, they have that black, rough paw pad, but underneath it is mostly just muscle.
It was literally 5 minutes. We let it breathe, and she was like, okay, I should eat my foot now again.
Right, and it was a real asshole thing to do for the dog. But she's healing, she's better, and she's happier than ever. So, it all worked out in the end. Okay. Us. Directed by Jordan Peele, starring Winston Duke and Lupita Nyong'o. Very high ratings on Rotten Tomatoes and Metacritic and all of those.
Very well deserved.
Highly acclaimed, well-deserved praise. Brittany,
What?
what'd you think?
I liked it quite a bit, though, and this is just personally, I did guess pretty quickly this big twist, though Robert did not. So maybe that's just me, a personal issue. I don't necessarily think that's anything wrong with the film. I know very few people, I think, guessed what was happening.
No, some people I've heard got it as they went on. More and more of the pieces started to line
We
up.
were literally like 10 minutes in the film, and I was like, oh my god, I know what happened.
Right, it was like right after the opening scene. But me,
I did very good, and I kept it to myself for quite a while.
we've talked about how she does this quite a bit. It's no mystery that Brittany figures this stuff out. But for me, I just like enjoying it, right? I don't try to think too much into it.
I kept it to myself, didn't I?
You did.
I did a good job.
Until, like, right before the reveal. And then it's like, couldn't you just let it happen?
I literally cannot wait any longer sometimes.
Okay. But we're not going to give away that spoiler. But essentially the premise of the story is that there are mirror images of people living in tunnels underneath America.
Miserable tunnels.
Right. After experimentation done to kind of treat people like puppets, so to speak, they're clones, right? We were pretty much sure that they're clones.
I guess. I assume so.
Right.
My question is, How did they get, like, the original, like, DNA?
I don't know.
Also, the genetics of the whole thing is ridiculous.
Right, because if two people have a kid, the chances are of them having the same exact child.
Okay, look, you take two sets of twins, okay? And they marry each other. You don't suddenly have, like, they each have a boy. Yes, they may look similar, but they're not the exact same.
Right, but
genetically, they would still be a little different.
But in this one, they are exact mirror replicas. And they've been stuck underground for so long, and now they are all coming back, and they're trying to do something called the untethering, where they kill the above ground version.
And take over, I guess.
Not necessarily take over, but it's more just to make a statement that they're tired of being locked up in the sewers or in the tunnels. Right, but they go around and they kill, and they can't speak, and they're very
they make
dumb.
noises.
Right, they yell and they hoot and stuff, but they are not socially adept. They're not trained to interact with people, because down in the tunnels, they just do what their above counterparts are doing. If the above counterpart's eating a corn dog, then down in the tunnel, that person's also eating, but it's not a corn dog. It would be like slop or a rabbit or something.
And they mostly just mime what's going on, too.
Yes, it's... and Lupita Nyong'o, her character, Red, who is the mirror image of the one up above, Adeline, she has a monologue where she kind of has to really strain her voice to explain what's happening. And it says, look, things are beautiful and bright up top, but down here it's very...
It's a shadow.
It's a shadow. It's very dark. It's very... Like, you sleep in your feather beds and we're sleeping on rocks. You have happy marriages, and I was essentially forced to be with this person that I have no connection with. This is just how it is.
You had a beautiful child, and I had a monster.
Yeah. But it's a really good horror film. It's more of a thriller for me, but there are some very scary moments.
People's heads get bashed in. That's
it's adult. It's horror for sure, but it's not so much jump scares, right? It's a psychological thing. It makes you think. One of the things that I really want to talk about, aside from just the amazing acting, right? Because all of these characters had two parts to play, right? Mm-hmm. And Lupita knocks it out of the park, but so does Winston, and so do the kids. And even like some side characters too have some pretty good moments. Alexa, call the police. Fuck the police coming straight from the underground.
Oh, funny.
It was a great moment. But I want to talk about like the symbolism and the symbology. Is that even a word? But the symbolism and the motifs and all of the recurring themes that are in this movie are actually... It's literary almost, isn't it?
I guess.
Like, when you're in English class growing up, they say, okay, well, flowers are a motif, and you'll see all the flowers popping up throughout the book. Oh, okay, I see that. Well, this movie has like a dozen of them.
Rabbits was the primary one.
Rabbits was a big one. I don't think that was the primary one.
Well, what do you think the primary one was?
Shadows.
I guess.
Because a lot of scenes there, things are half lit, things are in the shadows, and mirrors too. Mirrors are a big one. There's a lot of reflections and a lot of mirror images of things. Scissors.
Okay, can we just talk about where did they get all the same scissors? I find it hard to believe. Okay, because it looked like there was a lot of people.
What's wrong with these scissors?
What's the matter with these scissors? No, okay, but for serious though, they had the exact same outfit and the exact same scissors. Like, how did they find these hundreds and hundreds of scissors?
And jumpsuits.
And, well, I'm assuming they just have ginormous piles of fabric. They just made them?
Right. No, and the thing about this movie is there was a lot of questions not everything is answered, and sometimes that makes it a great movie, and sometimes it makes it bad.
The scissors bothers me, though.
Another one is
like, I find it hard to believe they found that many scissors, let alone the same pair of scissors. I don't think the government left scissors lying around down there.
Yeah.
They're just a giant trove of scissors.
Mm.
Also,
why not chainsaws?
Also, it talks about they have, like, identical shirts to the people above them.
Yeah.
Where do they get those? So confused. I'm confused as to where the goods and services and downstairs come from.
Yeah. And, like, rabbits, but who puts them in the cages? Who handles the breeding program?
Well, rabbits are just...
But if they're in cages...
Rabbits. That's true.
Like, how are they...
I'm assuming at some point they just started letting them roam around.
Right. But let's see. There's a lot of, good and bad involved. Like, and it's not just down there. Like, up on top, too, you kind of see the good parts of people and the bad parts of people come out. And so that the people coming from below are actually being chased by the people up above. And it's just... I know there's a lot more that I'm not thinking of right now. But, like, spiders is one. The beach. Fire is a big one. That's one that I forgot. Fire and water are both... They occur a lot in this movie. Jordan Peele is just phenomenal. I didn't give him credit when they first said he was going to do Get Out. I was like, oh,
he's a
comedian. He's not going to be able to do horror. Well, fuck me.
Apparently he got like a secret dark side in there.
He's so good at telling stories. It's not just the horror part. He's just really good at telling stories. And the fact that he said, look, I'm going to make black films. I want my stars to be people of color because I have seen the white guy movie before.
Pretty excited to watch the new Twilight Zone.
I have it on my phone, and I just keep putting it off. But we need to see the first 2 or 3 episodes.
It's gonna be good.
Oh, I'm pumped about it. But he did great with Get Out, and now he did great with Us. And I look forward to whatever he's doing next.
I know he got signed to a big picture deal. So.
Yeah. And he even has his own like studio, Monkey Paw.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of attached to Jordan Peele. And his stories all are very similar to the Monkey Paw type idea. Where everything that you think it's good and it's bad, it makes you think. And he's going to be with Keegan-Michael Key in Toy Story voicing over.
Which looks so funny.
Yeah, and the fact that he can do both is just...
You ain't no Buzz Lightyear. It's more like, to infinity and below. No, that's not right.
No. God. They are very funny, and I love their show.
I like that it's reprising, like, they're one of those...
Yeah.
Usher characters.
Yeah, they say, oh, Liam Neeson's? Oh, Liam Neeson's. See, I will find you, and I will get you. But, holding hands is a big motif. And, like, critically, it's been really well received. A lot of people talked about it. I have a guy in my office. He's a movie guy. And he's seen it, like, 3 or 4 times in theaters. And he just can't get enough of it. But for me, I'd give it easily a 4. Probably a 4.5.
I agree.
We very rarely get 5s on this thing. 4.5 is pretty much as high as it goes unless it's like our favorite movie of all time.
Endgame might get a 5.
Endgame will probably get a 4.8. Because someone's going to die.
Original Lion King gets a 5. New Lion King gets a no.
And are we going to go see that movie?
No.
Really? You don't want to see Lion King in theaters?
No, I don't like it.
Are you going to just boycott it out of...
Look,
principle?
I have some major issues with what I've already seen. Scar looks just like Shere Khan. Like, they just threw a mane and changed the color. Like, they literally took the same frickin', like, CGI cat. Like, okay, also, no offense to... What's his name?
Chiwetel Ejiofor.
That's not it. That doesn't sound... I know that's the guy, but that's not how you pronounce that, is that?
What? The guy who's playing Scar? Ejiofor!
I don't think you're saying that right.
Okay, I'm going to pull up the name, and I want you to read it like you see it.
No offense to him. He's very talented. But I just don't think his Scar was the right role for him.
Read it.
Chiweedle... I don't know how to say the last name.
Yeah, Chiweedle Ejiofor. That's what I said.
Is that correct? That doesn't sound correct. I don't know. I don't know his life. I don't know his name. I'm not even...
He's Mordo.
I'm not gonna...
Mordo.
Who's that?
In Doctor Strange. We're watching it right now.
He looked different here.
Because he's not wearing a robe.
Whatever. Hugh Jackman and Robert Downey Jr. is the same. Anyway, he's very talented. Do not get me wrong. And I'm not going to butcher his last name because that is not okay.
Ejiofor.
But I just don't think Scar was the right choice. And like, that happens sometimes. Just because you're a talented actor doesn't mean every role is the right role.
No, and I get what Disney was trying to do by making sure that the Lion King was cast predominantly by black actors. But
here's my
Jeremy
problem.
Irons did such a good job.
Here's my problem, that they were like, okay, all the lions gotta be black, but like the funny side characters, those are all white. Like,
yeah, let's make John Oliver Zazu.
Like, not that I have an issue with John Oliver being Zazu, I just think that in and of itself almost seems... But I'm not black, I can't make that call. It is
right.
what it is. I'm not upset by any... I'm only upset by Scar because his voice just doesn't sound right.
Because, like I said, Jeremy Irons did such a good job on Scar the first time. It's kind of like Robin Williams and Will Smith in Aladdin, right?
No offense to Will Smith.
Right, but Robin Williams just knocked it out of the park, and anything would be anyone.
They could cast literally anyone in the whole world, and it wouldn't matter. It doesn't matter who they cast.
Because Robin's gone. Robin's not coming back.
And 100% they probably would have let Robin do that role.
Probably. That is one.
I also don't like the visual choices they've made with the character.
Right, but the whole Disney live action thing, I think, is just being pushed way too far.
We didn't go see Dumbo either.
No, we didn't. That was one of the ones that we were we have to see it, and we just didn't.
I have some major issues with Dumbo because it's very anti-captivity, and regardless of your opinions, whatnot, captivity can be bad, but it is typically nowadays, it is not.
Right, but since that was set way back in, the 20s or whatever, like, I don't even know when it was, but it was before a lot of these reforms.
Disney should know better. They literally have a top-notch animal kingdom where they have some of the highest qualities of care in the world, and they're still, like, anti-captivity. And, like, the whole anti-circus thing, yeah, circuses have had a bad rap, and they have had times where they were not good. Not at all. And do I think certain animals should be in a circus? No. But there are also good things that circuses have done, too.
Because, there's dogs, there's horses, there's animals that have been bred to survive well in captivity.
Them dogs at that one circus we went to was much better behaved than y'all little brat asses.
Oh,
she just burped like, ha. She burped in your face.
Alright, so, back on topic, Us, what would you give it?
We already discussed we gave it a 4.5.
Okay. So, great movie, but moving on to Shazam, which I keep wanting to call Captain Marvel because I'm on a Disney kick, and I keep thinking about the Marvel movies. But Shazam should stand on its own.
Shazam was pretty good.
Shazam was freaking great. Way better than I was expecting. Probably my favorite DC movie.
I'm a big Zachary Levi fan.
What, because of Chuck and Tangled?
Because he's Flynn Rider.
Yeah.
Eugene Fitzgerald.
I
liked him in Chuck, but that's not my favorite.
You watched
role.
all of Chuck.
I did.
Clearly you liked him.
I finished it in 3 days because they were taking it off Netflix, so I had to binge it.
I think that was the strongest binge I think you've ever had.
I watched 3 seasons in 2 days.
Yeah.
It was a lot of episodes.
And he was also in Thor, which lost on me because I didn't like Thor.
He got recast into the second and third Thor movie. Well, I don't know if he was briefly in the third movie. I think he gets killed, doesn't he?
He gets killed very early on. Very, very briefly.
Originally, it was a different. I forget which actor played it in the first movie, but
Prince Charming from Once Upon a Time.
Oh yeah, because he got a new show and
they didn't. He was busy with that one. My dog's being a ham right now.
She's always a ham.
Specifically right now. But
did you hear the little snort? No.
Yeah. In Shazam, Billy Batson receives the power of the wizard Shazam. And it includes electric powers from Zeus, speed of Mercury, strength of Hercules, etc. Right?
He done forgot.
The fortitude of Atlas. I know them, I just don't care.
Okay. He's super strong and bulletproof.
Right.
He has bullet immunity.
Which, I'm sorry, that doesn't work. But it actually plays off the New 52 version of Shazam that actually forgoes any mention of the name Captain Marvel that has been just clouded in controversy and fanboys who are like, this is the real Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel isn't Marvel, it's DC. Right? They go all crazy about it.
They're also mad that Captain Marvel's a girl. So.
Right. But my main thing is we can have Captain Marvel and Shazam. And Shazam is still a good name. It's just the loyalists and the people who prefer the name Captain Marvel, they want it. And honestly, I prefer the name Captain Marvel for the character. But you can't change what happened. You can't change that DC lost the copyrights, that they are trying to transition away from that name. I got it.
It is what it is. It
is what
really
it is.
Matter.
But the movie's based on the New 52, where he's an adoptive kid who goes to a foster home with many other adopted siblings, including Freddy, who's kind of his best friend.
Sort of.
Yeah, and I mean, Mary's there, and they are all in this home, and Shazam needs to find someone on short notice and picks Billy Batson to become the new wizard. The main villain, Mark, I forget his name, but
he's an old man.
Yeah, and he was offered the power of Shazam as a kid, but he was tempted by the 7 deadly sins, and so he lost out. And many people since then have been confronted about it and been deemed not worthy because every single one of them is fallible. Humanity gives into temptation, and so the wizard can't find anyone worthy.
Literally, Billy's his last option.
Right, Billy is the last option because this character
dying.
What's his name?
Shazam.
Not him, the bad guy.
Oh, I don't know. You have a phone.
I do have a phone. But he goes in and he finds his way back to Shazam's palace and takes the power of the 7 deadly sins.
Eye.
Right.
That weird eye thing.
And he goes and he wants to rule the world essentially. With under the power of these demons. And so Billy Batson gets the powers of Shazam and turns into Zachary Levi, and it's very funny, and he discovers his powers and he becomes a superhero, and essentially he just does all the stuff that a kid would do, right? He shows off.
Takes money.
Yeah, he takes money for autographs. He gives vengeance to kids who bullied them. The cast, Mark Strong plays Dr. Savannah. That's what it is. But yeah, Mark Strong does an amazing job because
you're heavy, dog.
he was essentially jaded by the whole situation by being told he's not good enough, so he spent his entire life trying to get back and prove him wrong.
It doesn't help that his dad is like an ass.
Yeah. But the powers are good, the humor is there. It's a sort of Christmas movie rolled into it too.
Yeah, it's around Christmas.
It's set at Christmas time, so there's jokes with
a
Santas
Santa.
and Christmas lights, and the holiday season in general is kind of woven into it.
Add that to our Jurassic World Christmas watching.
Yeah. And Die Hard that I've never seen.
I've never seen it either. And Gremlins.
And Iron Man 3.
It's a random ass Christmas movie.
Yeah. During our rewatch, I was like, this isn't Christmas?
Yeah, because he gives Pepper that giant ugly rabbit.
Yeah, but I forget. No, but...
He's a billionaire.
The only reason I remember anything is because I knew it was wintertime.
Can we just talk about
But he makes so many puns about it.
How he's a billionaire, and he's like, you know what would be a great gift for my girlfriend? A giant stuffed rabbit. Like, not diamonds, like, not... Like
we're
a
not
car.
We're not talking about this.
That pisses me off. I'm just saying.
We're talking about Shazam.
Yes.
And his powers where he can't figure out how to fly.
Even though he definitely can fly.
And he screws stuff up all the time. And it totally... The wisdom of Solomon, he don't got that.
Not yet, anyway.
Not yet, anyway.
He gets a little bit of it towards the end.
He's supposed to have it immediately. But...
None of that works that way. He learns about each and every power as the movie goes along.
Right. But Savannah wants the powers of Shazam. And he says, look, unless you give me the powers of Shazam, I'm going to unleash these demons all over everything, and they are going to raise the earth. They are going to destroy the planet if you don't give me this freaking power. So, spoilers.
It's a layer.
And there's a layer, and there's going to be sequels, for sure.
I think they said there was going to be 5.
Yeah, they're signed up for like a 5-movie deal, so I don't know if they're going to try to be integrated. They're going to try to integrate Shazam's franchise into Justice League or the greater DCEU.
God, I hope not.
But Justice League, I hope that they make leaps and bounds in the DCEU.
They can try.
Because the last 2 movies for sure, Aquaman
if
and
they get
Shazam.
rid of Ben Affleck, though, like, we could have a better movie.
Yeah, but...
I like Ben Affleck, just as Batman was such a poor decision.
Yeah. No, and in Shazam they have a brief Superman cameo, but it's not even Superman, it's just the suit. So it's like...
Yeah,
doesn't even
could
count.
be cast as anyone.
Right. But I think DC has done great in their last 2 films, Aquaman
I had issues with Aquaman, but
and Shazam.
Jason
Wonder Woman was
Momoa
good.
is amazing, but I had issues with Aquaman.
Yeah. But Wonder Woman was also good. And I think moving forward, I saw the new Joker trailer and I really liked it. Birds of Prey is moving forward and I look forward to that.
Honestly, here's what I think. I think they should just kind of retroactively scrub a couple of their films. Like...
Cyborg, bye.
No, so I like Cyborg. I just feel like he didn't get any decent screen time.
I think his character design was crap, but the character itself was good.
I didn't hate his character design.
He looks like crumpled up tinfoil, dear.
No, he doesn't. Let me see a picture.
Look it up. But anyway, Shazam, I would give it a highly ranked 4 out of 5. One of the best DC movies I've seen. There's not a whole lot of competition in the DCEU, but it has heart. It's about family. It's about making decisions. It's about friends. And Brittany is drinking orange juice.
Sorry.
But it's good. It's a good movie. Would you give it 4 more or less?
Yeah, 4's good.
4 is good? Good. Put that orange juice down.
It's empty anyway.
I know. I can tell because you're going...
This bitch empty.
Because you're going... It's empty. Okay. So, 2 more horror films. Or do you want to... Well, also there's the one about the Autopsy of Jane Doe.
Let's talk about that.
Okay, let's talk about the Autopsy of Jane Doe.
It's a fantastic movie on Netflix. I don't think it's a Netflix original. I think it was just a movie on Netflix.
It was just on Netflix that
I
we
saw it on a list of good horror movies to watch on Netflix, and so we watched it.
Did we already talk about this on
Did we?
I think we might have.
No. Well, anyway, regardless, we won't spend much time on it then. It was just really good.
Oh, no, we talked about the one where she was in the morgue by herself.
Maybe we didn't. I don't remember.
This is a different one. This is, there's a father and son in charge of a morgue.
They get this body in, and it's like they found it in the basement. And they're like, can you put a rush on this? So the son puts his plans on hold in order to stay with the dad. And basically, as the night goes on, they find out this body is, like, not quite dead.
It's very similar to the other movie.
But
The Possession of Hannah Grace.
It was done in a better way.
It was the other one.
I thought it was done in a much better manner.
It was pretty terrifying.
It was a lot scarier than Hannah Grace.
Yeah, I think so too.
But basically, and a lot of it was simply the set design, the way that basically the design of this morgue is it's in the bottom of their, like, they have an office down there, and I think they have a house on top of it.
Right, because it's kind of their showroom as well.
Yeah, they have, like, the showroom upstairs. So, but the morgue itself is, like, mostly underground. It has, like, an elevator upstairs, and it has stairs to this outside door. But it's a stormy night, and long story short, the power isn't working right, so the elevator isn't working right.
And they're trapped.
Constantly. And then the doors get blocked by a fallen tree, so they cannot get out.
And they're stuck in this room with this demonic thing.
And the more they go into it, like, the worse it gets, because they're taking out these pieces.
Right, it's like she's a witch, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
We don't want to spoil it, though.
But it's on Netflix. It's been out a while. We can leave mild spoilers, right? It harkens back to Salem witch trials, though, and this body has been safeguarded against anything.
Well, basically, the place they found it, it looked like there were two other bodies, and it looked like they had been trying to get out, is what the police tell them at the beginning.
Right.
So they're like, what did they do to this poor girl?
Right.
And they find all kinds of weird markings under her skin, all kinds of, like,
stuff in her mouth, in her stomach,
in her organs, yeah.
And as they start dissecting her and doing the autopsy and taking things out, the body starts to mend itself. And by the end, it's just, it's full on, scary.
It's terrifying. It was really good.
It was a good movie. But, I mean, I'd give it a 3.5.
I agree.
It was good. Okay, now let's talk about Pet Sematary.
Okay, now Robert is terrified of the initial Pet Sematary.
That little baby boy scared the shit out of me.
If you haven't seen that movie, that's just too bad.
Right.
Like, it was been out for a long time.
A long, long time. Lifetime. But yeah, the original, just having a toddler
Robert's scared
come
of
back to life.
Any demonic children type.
Young children. Demonic young children and dolls and things like that.
He's never seen The Omen, but I think...
I don't want to see The Omen.
I think it would terrify his
I don't want to see The Omen.
It is a pretty creepy movie.
Yeah. Either the new one or the old one. I don't care.
They're both fairly creepy.
I don't want it. But in the new one, what I loved about the new version of the movie is that it kind of... People who've seen it are going to see this movie pretty much know what's going to happen. Right?
But it did change it up quite a bit, and I liked it.
And that's what I'm saying, is that people go in there with an expectation, and they're like, there's no way they can change it up that much, because
apparently
I know what's going to happen.
They wrote 3 different endings for the film, and this was the darkest ending.
Right. But they play off of the original movie and things that happened in the original film.
Yeah, there's definitely, like, parts where
there's nods
where you think, like, originally in the original film you think this is gonna happen, and it doesn't, but it definitely gives you that creepy, like, oh my god, something's about to happen right now, and
yeah,
then
because
doesn't.
you know from the first film, like, oh well, the kid is hiding under the bed, but the kid's not under the bed. It just makes you think that because you've seen the first movie, so you have an expectation, right? But It has a great added storyline of the mother and her sister who died because she had a weird
Which
spinal
was
disease.
always in the book.
Right, but it wasn't included in the first film. And
Not
so
really. It was glossed over pretty
It was new to
heavily.
me. I think...
I think the overall tone of this film was more aligned with the book, even though like it did change a few things.
Mm-hmm. And I liked Lithgow as Judd. But the cast was all fairly good. The Pet Sematary itself also wasn't the same as in the first film because this, I felt, had more depth to it. It brought more mythology and history from
The
book into this movie. So I did get something new out of this, but because I'm so scared of kids, I just kind of prefer the first one better. Even though this was a really good film, I preferred the first one.
The little kid in the first movie is a little creepier.
Yes. But the deaths in this, the creepy, undead cat and undead kid of this one, scary. But for me personally, not as scary.
I thought there was more of a psychological, like, if we had kids, I feel like this movie would have been scarier for us.
Oh.
Because the kid in this movie was more like, it was like, oh my god, my kid's saying this stuff. Like,
yeah. It's questioning death, questioning the afterlife, and there's also a kid who dies, or, a young adult who dies earlier in the movie. And this figure reappears over and over,
which is something that happens in the book.
Kind of as a spirit.
But in the original film, they kind of glossed over that quite a bit.
Right, but he kind of acts as a spirit for the main character.
FYI, his head is like super bashed in, so if you can't handle that, I would not recommend this film.
Oh, there's a lot of triggers in this. There's a lot of things that make you cringe.
Having children.
That's the funniest thing you've said on this podcast.
It's worse than a rapist.
A child. But, the cast did a good job. The writing was great. I'm sure it got Stephen King's seal of approval.
Oh yeah, they talked to him first.
And overall, there's not much you can say bad about this movie.
If anything, I think the It trailer was in front of this movie, wasn't it, or no?
No, they have not had a second It trailer.
Okay, I can remember.
There
were some good trailers in front of it, though.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of good horror coming out soon. Brightburn.
I don't know how I feel about Brightburn. Like I said last night,
It's kind of a superhero horror. I'm looking forward to it.
I think it's either going to be great or it's going to be terrible. I don't think it's going to be, I don't think there's going to be a mediocre.
I want to give James Gunn the benefit of the doubt and say it's going to be pretty good.
I hope it's a lot like Slither. I love Slither. I would watch that movie.
That's kind of a goofy horror, though.
Yeah, I think, who directed that film? James Gunn did.
James Gunn did.
I was going to say, I thought he did.
Yeah.
I hope it's like Slither. And they got some of the same cast from Slither.
Yeah. But the main point is that I'm looking forward to a lot of the horror coming out. Ma looks good.
I don't know. I feel like they gave away a lot in the trailer.
They did. Sometimes they do that.
But maybe there isn't. Maybe we'll get in there and be like, oh my god, there's so much.
That's only from the first half. Oh my god.
But I'm pretty sure I know everything that happens.
Yeah, pretty much. Pet Sematary, what would you give it?
I'll give it a 3.
I was going to say the same thing.
We very much agreed on all the movies we've seen recently.
Yeah, I think so. There wasn't one that I was, all in favor of. Probably Fighting with My Family was probably the one with the most disagreement. Because I dragged you to it.
What was that other movie? Oh, yeah, should we talk about the Daniel Radcliffe movie next?
Yeah, we'll talk about the Swiss Army Man first. And then finish off with the most recent Curse of La Llorona.
Which is kind of a goofy, but is very scary.
Right. No, I thought that might be a nice transition as talking about creepy kids and, kid-oriented movies and going to La Llorona.
It doesn't matter.
Let's talk about that one first. Why not? So, we saw this last night, so it's fresh on our minds. Velma from Scooby-Doo
is the main actress.
And she got 2 kids.
A boy and a girl.
And it's set in the 70s.
Okay.
And pretty much the whole cast is Hispanic, which I really appreciate.
It makes sense because of the neighborhood and the area. Like, there is a black cop.
Right, but they don't inject.
Or is he her boss? There was a cop and a boss.
They work in the same department.
Oh, okay.
They work together, but...
Yeah, okay, gotcha. He's the boss, I think, though.
Yeah.
He's a nice guy. So, she's a child protective services agent. And basically, the premise of the movie is that she goes over to one of her cases because the kids haven't been going to school. And she thinks that the mom has locked them up and has been abusing them. And she takes them out and they get killed. This is not really a spoiler. It happens pretty early on and you see some of it in the trailer.
Right.
And then she's like, what happened? Who did this? And the mom's like, La Llorona.
And so she does some research and thinks it's crap.
Cue credits. La Llorona.
Yeah, La Llorona.
But then La Llorona starts haunting her own kids, and they come over and think that she's been abusing her kids because her kid fractures his wrist.
Right, and there's like burn marks on their arms, and they're like afraid to talk about it, right? Mm-hmm. And a lot of times with these cases, the kids, they're afraid of what's going to happen if they rat out their parents. And so it kind of looks that way, but really it's this demonic La Llorona character who's like hiding out in their backyard and slamming doors and doing a lot of poltergeist type shit.
She was creepy as balls, just saying.
Very scary.
The actress they cast did a phenomenal job. And let's talk about the mythology. Okay, in most cultures have what's called woman in white, but sometimes that refers to a different kind of... There are a couple different women in white, but the La Llorona mythology, and I'm not sure if it's the first or not, I'm not that knowledgeable, but La Llorona means the weeping woman, is what that means. And the weeping woman is a pretty common myth in many different cultures around the world. But it all stems down to a woman whose lover, husband, boyfriend, whatever, spurns her by cheating on her typically, and in a fit of rage she drowns their children, but then afterwards, because of her grief, realizing what she's done, she drowns herself. And then they come back, and in various different cultures they do different things. La Llorona murders other children, looking for her own, I guess. And then but in some cultures, they stand on the side of the road looking for unfaithful men, and then they will murder the men. So, and I know La Llorona was a pretty big thing in Hispanic culture. Like, they pretty much, like, tell their kids, like, if you don't be good, La Llorona's gonna come and snatch you up.
Oh, yeah. In Texas, a lot of my friends, she was the equivalent of the boogeyman. Like, they would say, oh no, La Llorona, and I'm like, that, I don't get why that's scary. They say, oh no, it's scary. Because they've been told about it their whole life. It's one of those things that goes bump in the night, eat your vegetables, or La Llorona will get you.
Robert is not as into mythology and the supernatural as I am.
No, not near.
But there is an episode, funnily enough, the first episode of Supernatural deals with a woman in white who is in a very similar to La Llorona, only she kills unfaithful men rather than killing more children.
Right. But in this movie, it's kind of a mix between like a possession movie.
It's not really a possession movie.
But it's a demon, it's a house possession. The people are being haunted by this spirit.
She's attached to them.
Yeah, she's attached to them. So in that way, it's kind of a possession.
It is in the... And I didn't know this. It's in the Conjuring universe. We didn't know this going in.
Right, and it makes a lot of sense because it's set in the 70s. It has the same priest that was featured in the Annabelle movie. And all these things are tied in, and we love the Conjuring universe because it deals with haunted objects, haunted people, the nun.
Some are better than others, but yes, most of the movies overall are fairly good.
Because we've had the regular Conjurings, we had Annabelle, we've had the Nun.
We didn't see The Conjuring 2, I don't think. But that's the only one, and I heard it wasn't very good. But all the other ones we've seen, and they've all been fairly good. The Nun was very scary. There was also
There's going to be a new Annabelle.
Yes.
It's going to terrify the crap out of me.
There was a trailer in front of this film.
It's like Annabelle Comes Home, I think it's called.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's like...
I couldn't call it Homecoming.
Yeah, because then it's like Spider-Man. And then Chucky's coming out soon too, and that's not in the same universe, but that still deals with creepy dolls and stuff, so...
Robert's afraid of ventriloquist
This whole summer is going to be just awful for me. There's going to be clowns, dolls, children, and I'm just over it.
See, Robert's triggers are creepy children and creepy dolls.
Yeah, I don't like those.
I very much have different...
You don't like ghosts?
Ghosts are terrifying
Ghosts,
to me.
demons, sharks.
I mean, shark movies,
The
though,
dark.
aren't... I'm afraid of the dark. Also, teeth. If there's any, like, pulling or damaging of teeth, it freaks me out. Like, and fingernails.
Yeah.
We very much have different triggers.
I don't like gore in general. So, like, the whole teeth and fingernails things falls into it, but it's not a particular thing for me. But...
Like, I could watch someone's spine get ripped out, and I'm fine. But they rip out one tooth, and I'm like, oh my god.
Right. But La Llorona
is creepy.
It's a really solid horror film.
It sounds kind of goofy. It's like, because they say it so much, it almost, the name itself almost gets like a comedy.
Right.
Like,
we got to talk about this ex-priest guy, okay? He was a member of the church, but... He got excommunicated because he...
No, he left the church.
Oh, he left the church because he did not agree with what the church was doing. And so now he's kind of this fringe
I have a feeling
guy.
that he's going to be... They introduced him in this because it makes sense, but I have a feeling that he's going to be in the next Nun movie. Because, as you know, they didn't kill the nun, even though they thought they did. I have a feeling that...
They're going to use him again?
Yes.
But yeah, no, he's kind of a hardened, badass guy, but he's got a couple really funny joke lines too.
Can we talk about how Lorraine Warren just passed away?
Yeah.
And regardless of how you feel about her, or what you think about whether what she did was real or not, she was a very nice lady, and it is very sad.
Right. We saw this movie on the day she died, not knowing it was a member of the Conjuring universe. Franchise. Would it be a franchise?
It's
universe?
a franchise. I mean, it's a lot like the Marvel universe, just not quite as expansive or as expensive.
I agree. But yeah, we saw this movie on that day, and it's very sad.
I know for the people that she helped, regardless of how you feel about it, that they feel that she was a great person.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I've never met the woman. I don't know. And I do know that I personally believe that haunted objects and haunted spirits and demonic things are very much real. Robert, however, is very much on the fence.
It's not that I'm entirely skeptical. I just think it's kind of played into too much to draw on people's innate fears of certain unknown things.
Oh, but serial killers are real, and we've had movies all about them.
Yes, because they're, like, quantifiably real.
Can we just talk about how excited I am to see the new Ted Bundy film with Zac Efron?
So long as we also talk about how you're excited to see the new Elton John movie with Taron Egerton.
Robert keeps making fun of me because I'm excited about it.
She's excited about these movies because the stars are hot.
No, I legit love serial killer films. It has nothing...
Yeah, even if it wasn't... But Elton John, really?
I like Elton John.
Well, since when?
Since The Lion King.
Not The Lion King.
He sings in The Lion King, Robert.
Oh, I'm thinking...
writes...
I'm thinking Phil Collins from Tarzan.
He writes all the songs for The Lion King, you ass. Look how purple my brush is.
That is purple. But La Llorona, what would you give it?
3.5.
3.5. I'd give it a 3.5 to a 4. It was a very,
it was a
very
solid,
scary movie.
solid scare. I definitely jumped a few times.
She squeezed my arm so hard.
The first time we see her face was terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
She's very scary, and she has these black tears.
I think the nun looks scarier, but I think La Llorona is a scarier character.
Exactly.
And you know, she like hides and she comes up and you'll see her in a mirror and the mirror will crack and it's just like, it's like creepy. So now that we've talked
That's
about
what happens when you look in mirrors too.
shut up. So now that we've talked about all the scary stuff, right? We've seen all these scary movies and things that.
Let's talk about a very.
Let's talk
funny
about the
movie.
dumbest, funniest, stupidest movie.
I very much love this film. We were kind of like, let's watch a movie. What should we watch? And we looked at a couple different
And
ones.
Brittany's like, oh, Daniel Radcliffe. He looks fun. I like Daniel Radcliffe. So we watch it. And this guy, he's on an island.
Not Daniel Radcliffe.
Not Daniel Radcliffe. He's on an island and he's stranded. And he's trying to kill himself. And as the noose is around his neck and he's about to jump, he sees a body wash up onto shore. Oh, thank God. He's saved. He has a friend. Right?
He falls off.
And he nearly kills himself right off the bat. And he goes and he finds dead Radcliffe's corpse. And he's dead.
And then he starts farting.
And he farts.
Daniel Radcliffe, the corpse.
The corpse.
The corpse is
And
farting.
he's like, that's really weird. But he's dead. It's just expelling gases. Because he's a dead body.
But he farts like a
lot.
lot.
A lot. And like 2 minutes later, our main character is riding Dan Radcliffe through the ocean like a fucking motorboat.
With the farts
With his
powering.
farts propelling them. He's essentially a wave runner of farts. And Dan Radcliffe's just a corpse just getting ridden. It's just so stupid, okay? But they get to another island, or another land.
They get to shore.
They get to shore somewhere. Now, at the end of this movie, like, it all makes you question, like, is it real, is it not, or anything like that. But let's suspend all that, okay? Let's just kind of ignore the end altogether.
I don't know, it couldn't have been that fake, because he does make it to the actual other island, so...
Yeah. But he is, they're on this thing, and he, instead of abandoning the body, he carries it around.
He can't leave it.
He can't
It
leave the
saved
body.
him.
Right. It saved his life, so he wants it to... I don't know whether he wants to give it a proper burial or what. But
Assuming so.
He just wants to hang on to this body. And he discovers over time that it doesn't just fart a lot, okay?
Though it does fart a lot.
But this body, it like rains in this body's mouth and it gets the ability to give fresh water anytime. Like, out of his mouth. Just like...
It develops all these life-saving
It can, like,
abilities.
fires. It has, like, a karate chop arm. He can... Eventually, he learns to speak.
Sorta.
Kind of. And learn, sort of.
So he keeps him company.
Right? And so they're, like, friends, but he's just...
And meanwhile, he's got this phone, right? That the battery's slowly leaching out of. But there's this girl... And Daniel Radcliffe's corpse character. Can we just say Daniel Radcliffe did a phenomenal job?
I've never loved a dead body this much in a film.
Like, it's so funny. And he basically, like, his corpse falls in love with this girl that he thinks is his.
And his dick is a compass.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that part. He gets an erection and it starts pointing and the guy's freaking out. He's like, oh my God. And he's like, oh wait, no, it's a compass.
And it's pointing him in the right direction. Oh man.
But anyway, so Daniel Radcliffe thinks that this girl is someone that he knew in another life. But it turns out, like, well, I don't want to spoil it.
Right, but essentially the main character, like, tries to get Dan Radcliffe to remember this stuff.
So that he'll come more alive.
So he, like, dresses up like her and acts like her, and Dan Radcliffe almost falls in love with him as her. and they talk about like sex and love a lot. Like,
and this corpse is basically
it's like a baby.
Yeah, he doesn't really understand anything.
Right.
And so he just says whatever comes to his mind.
Right. He's like, oh, do you know, if you want, I'll think about your mom when I masturbate. It's like, what?
Yeah, there's a whole thing
about it. And
it's so funny.
It's funny, but it's dumb. Because, like, he builds
a
mock bus
he uses
scene.
He uses Daniel Radcliffe as, like, a multi-tool. He, like, uses him to hammer and, like, chop
fires
things.
I'm sure we're missing things too. But it's just full of these dumb gags where Dan Radcliffe's dead body is being used for dumb reasons. And they even bring back the stupid farting motorboat later in the movie. That whole gag. They bring that back, apparently. But
that was so funny.
It was funny.
We were going to turn it off, and then he started motorboat. Like, he rode him like a boat, and that was just...
And we couldn't stop watching it.
Robert kept talking about how bad it was.
It is bad.
I think it was amazing.
It's hilarious, but it's bad.
I can't believe we've been sleeping on that movie.
Okay. I want to talk about Dale and Tucker very briefly. Or Tucker and Dale. Tucker and Dale...
Versus Evil.
Versus Evil?
Yes.
Okay. That is a slept-on horror film. It's a horror comedy. It's very good. It stars Alan Tudyk. And it's essentially like...
I don't remember who the other guy is.
Me neither. But essentially it's just like, slasher films where these kids are being chased by this monster killer.
It makes fun of those.
Well, Alan Tudyk and his friend...
are rednecks.
They're rednecks, and they're being construed as these monster killers when really things just aren't going their way. And these kids are having these terrible accidental deaths.
Well, officer, I've had a hell of a day.
Yeah. And it's a very funny movie. That movie is a slept-on funny movie.
Oh, Swiss Army Man.
Swiss Army Man is very different.
I wouldn't recommend it to everyone, but damn, if you like that sort of thing, you're gonna love this film.
It's just full of fart and sex jokes, and it does make you question, like, the guy's sanity by the end, definitely.
I don't. Daniel Radcliffe was 100% a corpse that helped him.
By the end, he ends up, like, learning to stand up. Like, he essentially zombifies.
He could have come more alive, I think. Maybe in the next one.
Brittany, there's not going to be Swiss Army Man 2.
Why?
Rise of Dan Radcliffe's Boner. It's not going to happen. Just let it go.
Oh, I'm sad. I would watch that movie again.
I wouldn't. You can watch it on your own.
James would like that movie.
Whatever. Okay. So, we're not gonna...
I'll give it a 4.
You're gonna give it a 4, I'm gonna give it a 2.
You're wrong.
It's funny, but it's dumb.
You're wrong.
Okay. So that averages it out at a 3, which I can live with. Would you go to a movie theater and spend money to see that movie?
Yes.
Based on trailers?
Maybe.
Okay.
With our A-list, yes.
With our A-list, okay. So, we are not going to rank these films.
Because they're all random.
Because they're all very random, but I will say that I was not necessarily disappointed by anything that we saw. But had we gone and seen Dumbo and Wonder Park and all these movies that have come out that we've slept on, if we had gone to see them, we'd have a better ranking because I know we would have gone to movies we didn't want to see. We wanted to see all these movies.
Initially. Oh, the movies.
The movies that we did see.
Yeah.
We went to the movies we saw because we were interested in seeing them. And that's going to be more of the format that we have moving forward. So, even though, let's just use Ma as an example, right? We may or may not go to see the new horror movie Ma. Because it looks good, but we live our lives. And we have to be at home with the dogs more. And honestly...
My new job is very stressful.
It's stressful all around. But Endgame, oh fuck yeah, we're going to see Endgame.
Twice.
We're going to go see the Elton John movie. We're going to go see... there's actually a lot happening around Memorial Day The new
My
X-Men's
birthday.
coming out. Godzilla's coming out. There's a shit ton coming out in the summer. So
You can see X-Men by yourself. Jean Grey looks dumb.
I will see it twice by myself. I don't even care.
Goodbye. See you bye.
But there's
I'll go see.
But there's a ton coming out in May and June that I'm excited about. So hopefully the podcasts will be a little bit more
Reliable.
a little bit more regular. But don't expect us to go see films that don't interest us personally. Because we don't want to waste our time. We don't want to go and say, hey, let's go see this shitty documentary about a kid who dies underwater and magically because Jesus comes back to life.
Oh my god. If
Right.
I had never seen that.
They've been pushing Breakthrough so freaking hard. I'm sorry. I'm not interested in it, and I'm not going to be interested in it. I hope he died. Just as like a twist. It's like all these people came to know Jesus, but unfortunately, the kid died. Like that would be a twist.
Or not even
But you know
he
that's not-
died.
you know
Like
that's
he
not
just
gonna
became a
happen.
vegetable.
Right, but you know that's just not going to happen.
No.
It's going to be like, oh, praise Jesus, he's back to life, and da-da-da-da.
It's obviously Jesus and not modern medicine.
And they also put it out on Easter weekend like, we see you.
No, it came out a couple weeks ago.
We see you pandering. A couple weeks ago? It's been out that long?
Yes.
Then why have I not seen spoilers online, dear?
Because it's a real story and you can legit...
Oh, I thought it was because it was a crap movie and no one went and saw it.
that too, but...
I was making a joke and you're like, it's a true life story on Lifetime. Of course you don't need spoilers. So Brittany's almost done with her hair. She's making it pretty.
Not almost. I'm about halfway.
Yeah. But moving forward, I'm going to get this posted as quick as possible because once Endgame comes out and we've seen it our 2 times, we're going to record a Marvel podcast detailing the movies that we've seen over the last 3 weeks, about what we liked, what we didn't like, where we were, where we got context clues for Endgame. And then we're going to talk about Endgame
Ultron.
itself. And Ultron has a lot. But that's probably going to be a long-ass podcast, so be prepared for that one. But until then...
This one was kind of long.
Yeah, it's not as long as others have been, but we also we just messed around with this one. It's like 2 months worth of movies and trailers and speculation that we had to cover in this one. So it makes sense.
Why don't you give me, other than Endgame, what's your next movie that you're really looking forward to? Maybe something that's not as, popular, not something like X-Men or something, but something else.
But we're going to Penguins probably this weekend because it supports conservation and Brittany loves animals. But for me, I'm looking... What do you mean, not blockbustery?
Yeah, something that's a little smaller. I'm really looking forward to... Is it called Ugly Dolls?
Yeah?
That looks super good.
Hard to say. I honestly think that movie with the 2 girls that are going out... it's their senior year. I think it's called Booksmart.
Oh, yeah?
I'm kind of looking forward to Booksmart.
I'm also really looking forward to Artemis Fowl.
Well, that's a blockbuster.
No, it's a small...
It's a blockbuster.
I'm talking about superhero blockbusters.
Oh, well, obviously, I'm looking forward to Godzilla. It looks fantastic.
Because anytime you ask you what movie you're looking forward to, it's always a superhero movie.
It's because X-Men. And superhero movies come out 5 times a year.
It's getting ridiculous.
Star Wars looks pretty good. What? You don't want... And it looks... Well,
It looks amazing.
We don't even have any trailers for it.
It doesn't matter.
But I know it's going to be good because the last one was so good.
I don't like Star Wars.
I know you don't, dear.
I'm not a big space film... I don't really like any... The only space stuff I've really liked... I like the Orville. That's a TV show,
I love the
though.
Orville, and you like Guardians of the Galaxy, which is Marvel, so it doesn't count.
No, it does count, but it's a different kind of space film.
And I will say, I don't count this as a superhero movie, but it does fall in DC. I did see the Joker trailer, I mentioned this before, and it actually looks really good. I was very, very skeptical going in. I was not gung-ho for it. I thought it looked stupid.
It looks more like a serial killer film.
Exactly. After seeing the trailer, it makes me want to see how Joaquin Phoenix, like...
Joaquin. Thought it was
At least
Joaquin.
I didn't say Jacqueline. Jacqueline. No. Jaqueline. My name is Jacqueline. God damn it!
Jaqueline.
Jaqueline.
Hey, Ron, go to the principal's office.
Blackie.
That's such a funny
It
skit.
is. Oh no, we make fun of it because we have two Aarons at work, and so one's Aaron and one is Aaron.
We had that at the zoo.
Yeah, but there's just a lot of movies, and as the trailers come out, we'll know more. But there's plenty coming out.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is from Disney.
Robert's pumped for Disney Plus.
Disney Plus. I wanted to talk about this and forgot. Can we talk about Disney Plus for a second?
Sure.
Okay. And then this will be the last thing we talk about. Disney Plus was announced a few weeks ago, or like a week ago or something. And it looks like there's going to be a lot of great original content.
Hopefully.
There's going to be a live-action Star Wars show. There's going to be at least 3 live-action Marvel shows starring Loki, Wanda, Vision, Bucky, and Falcon.
And Loki may or may not come back because there has been talk that Loki show will be a prequel.
Right. Or like something that happens kind of like at the same time between. But there's going to be a lot of stuff for live action and new Disney stuff. For instance, I hear that they're going to do a live action movie specifically as a Disney Plus original. Trying to think of what else.
Like they used to do?
Yeah, like almost like Disney Channel original movies, only for paying customers. You're gonna have access to all the Disney movies and all the Marvel movies and everything, including stuff that's in the vault. There's gonna be a new original show about Monsters Inc. They will no doubt bring back a lot of the classic '90s Disney stuff, like Proud Family, Lizzie McGuire, Kim Possible.
Everything that ever happened better be on the thing. Because
Right.
if I'm going to pay more money every month, I want everything.
Because there's going to be nerds out there who are like, they get it and they just want to binge watch Kim Possible.
I better be able to watch Lion King 1.5, 6 times.
For real.
Just saying.
And it still won't be good as Lion King once.
Lion King 1.5 is not as good as Lion King, but it is funny.
It is
Lion
funny.
King 2 is a quality sequel, regardless of how
One of the most quality sequels in Disney. I also want to see...
until recent times.
I want to see Aladdin.
Can we talk about Frozen 2?
Aladdin 3.
Frozen 2 looks awesome.
Frozen 2 does look awesome.
That's
And I hear that Disney Plus is going to have a lot of Frozen 2 making up and featurettes that are exclusive to... Because it's going to be coming out in like the same month. It's going to be exclusive to Disney Plus. The price of it is going to be $6.99 a month, or you can get it for a year for $69.99. And that's actually probably what we're going to do for the first year, because we know we're going to use it.
Yeah.
I
We might do like a free month or something, and then if we're like, okay, this is amazing, then we'll just pay the...
Right. But I'm looking forward to everything being available to me, because for us personally, Disney is where it is at. We like Marvel. I like Star Wars. We both like Disney and Pixar.
I love all their animal films, too.
Yeah, and they have access to ESPN, too.
Only if they got to horse
And
races.
they're probably going to have bundles with Hulu and Spotify.
We're going to the Derby in a few weeks.
Yeah, here in a couple of weeks, we're going to be going to the Kentucky Derby. It's going to be like a week after Endgame comes out, so it's going to be very busy.
So hopefully we'll get Endgame up pretty quickly before we leave, because otherwise it'll be forever.
Yeah, and we don't want that. But it would also give people time to watch it, because spoilers are going to be everywhere. Spoilers are already out, which I'm shocked by.
We can do a spoiler section like we did with Captain Marvel.
Honestly, I just think we need to make the whole thing spoilery, because I don't want to tiptoe around it. If I say something, I don't want to have to edit it.
We can have a few minutes where we're like, all right, this is our general feel.
Okay, yeah, just like the first 5 minutes, be like, okay, don't listen to this podcast, but so you know, it's good.
Basically.
That's all we're going to be able to say. It's like, just watch the trailers. That's really all we can say. If you don't want spoiled, watch the trailers, and that'll give you everything non-spoilery. Because you know they plan that. But that's the
Trailers aren't
end.
even real. None of that even happens in the movie.
Yeah, Tony Stark dies in space.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
That would be so anticlimactic.
Oh God, people would riot in the streets. But that's the end of this podcast.
The end.
We will see you in about a week and a
We won't
half.
see them.
Okay, we will record something for your listening pleasure in about a week and a half. Hopefully it's out. But until then, thank you so much for listening after our long break. And hopefully we can have more and more podcasts coming up into the summer months. Bye, everybody!
Bye.